Welcome to The Truth in This Art, your source for conversations on arts and culture. I'm your host, Rob Lee. And today, I am honored to be in conversation with my next guest, a story artist, talented storyboard artist, and an animator based in Los Angeles, who's worked previously with Cartoon Network and Netflix Animation. They have storyboarded for a variety of shows, including Close Enough, Driftwood, and We Baby Bears, and has a wide-ranging storyboard experience in both feature films and television series targeted at adults and family and kid audiences. Please welcome Siti Lu. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Happy to talk to you.
Likewise. I always want to talk to someone that's worked on cartoons that I enjoy. So we got that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fanboy out. It's gonna be something. So can you tell us a bit about your background and like when you first became interested in animation and what inspired you to pursue that field?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Well, animation was actually not my first interest. Like at least not at the Western animation, the cartoons. I did watch like Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes, or those classics. But I grew up with tons of anime and manga, if that makes sense. But
yes,
like up until high school, I know I kind of just want to draw comics or manga for a living. And like most people didn't go to college for that. I know at least not the time I was trying to apply to school. And my parents, obviously Asian parents, they want me to get a degree. Yeah. So there's, not many art school that has the comic major or even teach how to draw manga at a time. And I don't think I want to do fine art. And so that's why I did some research. Maybe animation is somewhat closer to what I was trying to do. Yeah, so it's after I got in the animation college, I realized, how cool this format is. Like in school, we have to make animation film each year. So it's all the work that made me just fall in love with this media. And animation is just a cool a film type that you can control everything in terms of shot, angle, art style, or how the characters' performance are. And you can do like cinematic film stuff or flat comedy, experimental, all kind of stuff with animation. So since we have to do everything ourselves at school, so I did writing, Vista, storyboarding, animating, and compositing, like After Effects. All those are fun, but I specifically love storyboarding, which is very close to comics.
Yeah.
Now I think about, right? So that's how I figured out what I wanted to do for my career.
That's great. And I love hearing that. Like before I got into doing this, one of my earliest interests creatively was comics. Actually, I wanted to be a comic book artist. So definitely, it's cool to hear about that.
Yeah, right. It's just a cool thing. Like I forgot there's a manga specifically talking about like how manga artists work in Japanese industry, and that just inspired me so much. They work so hard each week. They need to produce tons of new ideas and just draw it prettiest.
So one of the things that I saw is some really, really huge names. I mean, I think when I came across like your background and some of your work, because I definitely was checking out the portfolio. I was like, I'm internet stalking right now. I'm definitely doing this sort of deep dive and looking at your work. And I see really big names. I see Netflix, I see Cartoon Network and Titmouse coming soon or what have you, as you reminded me of the other day. So
yeah.
Could you share with me like maybe the first project that you worked on and a memorable project for you? Like really what was, really big, like the first project and something else that was really big and it was either really challenging or really satisfying for you professionally?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to share that. It's actually kind of a lucky story for me because it was after my first year at CalArts, so we all make a year each. We all make a film each year, and we had a big screening, and then we will invite industry people to see it. Mm-hmm. And then the regular show creator JG Quintel, and then he was there, and then he saw my film. He's like, oh, he's kind of interested, so he asked his producer to asked me to apply to their internship at Cartoon Network. But that was like, it sounds really smooth, right? But it's actually not, because I'm pretty sure he forgot about that after a while. So I did apply next year, the internship, and then I did got in, but I feel like it's not connected to that opportunity. It's because I didn't get to intern on his show at the time. I was in Summer Camp Island, which is another cool Cartoon Network show. Lots of big name people on there too. Yeah, but after, like, during the internship, we cannot do any artistic stuff. I remember the only thing I draw is a poster for the potluck. It's like a production intern. But what's cool is at the end of the internship, you get to do a big pitch at the studio, and you can invite others. Obviously, you cannot invite everyone at the studio, but you can invite people at least that on your show, or some people you know at the studio to come to it. So I did that. I know I want to do storyboard. Some people, they are not like, they don't want to do storyboard. They might just pitch a with that focused show idea, or some people good at writing, they pitch something in writing format. I just pitch a story moment, that like a storyboard format pitch about this like a very simple show idea I had. Yeah, so my pitch was like really short, but people loved it because I draw everything out and I pitched it. It flows really well, and I hope it's funny because people laugh. Yeah. And one of the producer there that I invited was actually the producer that told me to apply for the internship. So I'm pretty sure they, like, JG forget about me. Like after the first time, they mentioned they wanted me to do the internship, but that producer remembered me, and then he saw my pitch, and then she brought my pitch Bible to JG. She said, "Hey, I heard you're hired. Why don't you look at this pitch she did?" And then luckily she did interest, and he hired me, JG, on the spot. So it was like a miracle. But yeah, it was a funny moment. But yeah. And that summer, I started working on Close Enough season 1. Not season 1, season 2 actually. But that was my first job, and nice. I was super nervous because I'm not American, so I need to figure out my visa stuff, and that caused me to have to start a week later than everyone else. But on TV schedule, it's like on the first week you have to finish the whole boards of thumbnail. Next week we're moving on to notes and stuff. And I'm grateful they let me to start late for a week. So I on my first week, I basically need to do a 2 weeks work and then show it to them like.
Oh wow!
Right after. Yeah, so I'm glad I survived, and then they loved it, and then they loved it so much. I remember later on that season, they promoted me to help fix their later animatic retakes and stuff. Yeah.
So in one, I love Close Enough, by the way. It's one of my favorite shows. So definitely.
I'm sorry, HBO Max took it down because the copyright issue. Yeah, but.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it was a fun time. I'm really sad. It was a good show. I really loved it.
Yeah, and definitely dug season 2 a lot, or what have you. I was like, what is this going to be? I was like, what's going to happen? Because I was a big Regular Show fan, and I was like, what is this adult JG Quintel stuff? And it was like, oh, this is just the same show. This is great.
It's the same show, but with more adults format. Definitely, there's no limitation on that show, really.
So within the sort of process, like there is a fair amount of people who listen to this who are interested in, animation, interested in storytelling, interested in like how a story is crafted. So where within like the sort of scope is the storyboarding, the story artist work being done? Like, could you walk through like what stage you're at, and then like before we get to actually see it on an HBO Max or online or on, yeah, so where are we at in that process?
Yeah, so each show is very different. For
Sure.
Close Enough, it's a script driven. That means the writer did the script and then we just storyboard everything from the script. We have very little power to change what's in the script. And yeah, basically we just board what's on the script. And then sometimes it's if the visual doesn't work, we can ask the writer to change certain jokes. But that was it. And then I did storyboard and then story revisionist. We already do a cleanup pass, but there's always some part that could be cleaner, and then revisionist to go over it. And then we will ship those and design stuff to overseas studio like South Korea, and then they will animate it, and it looks like the pretty image on HBO Max.
Thank you. No, that's great because like I'm a consumer versus knowing like what goes into it. So definitely you've helped out considerably for that. So what is it about like storyboarding and being involved in the story process? Like, because you're very early in the process from what you were describing a moment ago there.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about that excites you that you're like, yeah, this is what I like. This is for me.
You mean just in general, this job?
Yeah.
So right now I'm also freelance for feature. I feel like for feature and TV, it's a very different feeling in terms of storyboarding. For TV storyboarding, the part I'm excited for is the visual gag. Because the people talking back and forth, there's some writing jokes there, but that one is not like super hard. I like figuring out, like, especially for Close Enough or a regular show, they always have those crazy climax. They always assign me to do those crazy moments, which is I can reference those known film and then put them in like a ridiculous way. Yeah, that's what I'm enjoying for. As for feature storyboarding, I really enjoy the process, just milk the moment, like just it's different than TV. It's quick jokes, talking back and forth. Feature is less talking, more cinematic storytelling. Yeah, both are very fun for me. It's just super different.
That's great. So I'm detecting a really strong sense of humor, and I like good senses of humor. I'm a person that enjoys a good joke. I like laughing. So talk to me about like sources of inspiration, like, like as you touched on with, every project is different. Some you have a script as to this is what you're going to be kind of filling in from a storyboard perspective, and others may be a different process. So in terms of like designing like a story, designing a character, things of that nature, like where does your inspiration come from that go into like your work? Is it being out there, kind of maybe going out there in the city and seeing different things? Like that'll be funny to work somewhere, or tell me about that.
Sure. I think I'm a big fan of like just Black comedy or those British comedy. Yeah, those are like visual gag. It's always like those things are always inspire me. But what inspired me the most, I guess, it's just my normal life. Because I would sometimes just like I would laugh at my own situation a lot, and it's just yeah. I feel like biggest inspiration always coming from life experience. But yeah, in terms of storyboarding inspiration, I guess there's tons of resources out there. I use YouTube, Pinterest a lot. YouTube just has all those film clips that you can just type in. If I don't know how to draw a zombie scene, I just literally type in zombie scene, and it will show me 10 12 films of those climax scenes. I was like, oh, that's convenience. Back in the day, how are you going to find those?
So
yeah,
how do you work with like challenges like that may pop up? We all have different challenges. Like I had a small one, and you were a part of it before we got started. Do we have audio here? Do we have sound? That might be a small hurdle to get over for what I'm doing in this sort of audio medium. For being in like animation and being in this creative storyboarding and storytelling sort of like realm, what sorts of challenges do you encounter? And it may be a few where, you might have to go back and say, can we tweak this a little bit? This doesn't fit, this script doesn't fit to what we're trying to animate here. But tell me about some of the challenges and like how you overcome or how you address some of the challenges within your work.
Sure. Luckily, I haven't run like into a lot of those situations yet because the people I work with are like super talented. If I couldn't figure out something, I just talk it out with them. Like JG and Calvin, they would just shoot me in like a solution right back at me. That's one of the things I was super like shocked by, because they can just give me suggestions that are 10 times better than mine on the spot. So yeah, luckily I usually, if I couldn't figure out something, I just ask. It's always good to ask, make sure that's what they wanted, then just figure out something struggling yourself. Yeah.
I hear that. And I like the thing that you were saying earlier of like, I don't know about these zombies. I'm gonna go on YouTube. I'm gonna figure this out. And like I think being able to be in that environment when you're learning, because I mean, as I'm thinking about it, you've gone through the whole education process and all, but as far as being a professional, you've been in this sort of space for a few years at this point. Not even like 10, 15, 20, but a few years.
Yeah,
so being in an environment where you can learn from like people who've been doing really good stuff and having all of these different resources out there, it's big for you to actually stretch and grow as an animator, grow as a storyboard artist, as a story artist.
Yeah, definitely. It's mostly I learned from the job. Even though I did tons of schoolwork, I did learn from those as well, but I'm always growing. Storyboarding or film language is just so huge. You can never stop learning. Yeah.
Have you ever run into an instance where you have a vision artistically of like, this is what I want, and then like the production team is like, I don't know if that's quite it. But you're like, this is going to be the best way to show this. So talk about that, like kind of matching your artistic vision with the needs of a project.
Yeah. Well, I still can only speak for the shows I worked on.
Sure.
I work with teams that they have this very similar like joke type as my own. And then there is this artist. Yeah. So they are also very open to ideas. If they love it, they will for sure keep it. And then they will like keep doing it. And if they don't love it, they will, as I mentioned before, they will just give me a new solution that I think I genuinely think it's way better than mine. So I'm grateful I haven't run into those situations, because that sounds really, I met those some of the people that mentioned they have those experience, which is not that fun. But after all, it's still a job. Like, you don't wanna, because unless you are the top creator, you don't wanna to poke your finger too much.
Like, just make this different.
Yeah, but I'm grateful I haven't run into those situations personally, but
that's great to hear.
Fun.
So I read humor and heart is a part of it, and you worked within a variety of projects, like, projects that kind of lean towards more of this adult, more of this sort of like black humor or dark comedy or what have you, and then something that's a little bit more family oriented. So how do you approach like that or what have you, or what is that sort of experience like working with, projects from your perspective, working with projects that could be different tonally speaking?
I feel like that again. For now, I haven't run into an issue like that, because the family-oriented projects doesn't always mean it's less fun. Like, I feel like there's always a way to sneak the same jokes that might have some inappropriate thing in it, and most of the time, because there's a limitation, it makes the situation even funnier.
Okay.
Yeah, so I remember I think there's some part like we couldn't show blood or something, and then we just changed it to some gooey thing, which is way funnier. I forgot which scene that was, but it's moment like those. Like sometimes you like the audience know you're trying to make a joke about the bloody stuff.
Yeah.
But you just change the color or you just change it to a funny food related stuff. They'll be, oh, I get it.
I remember as I think about it, is when you were describing that, I thought of this one scene from, I think it was a regular show where there's like some coffee monster and he's like squirting coffee out of his nipples. And I was like, that is so inappropriate. And I was like, that is so funny though.
I know. It's like they are touching the gray area, but you know, sometimes the limitation makes the jokes funnier. Like you're not doing anything inappropriate, actually, but it's just you know what's going on.
I like that. I like that sort of thing, and it stretches the boundaries of how you can tell a story and how you can make something that visually is like really funny and really interesting, and it's going for, I think, humor that is at a different level versus sort of what's hanging right there. You don't have to always go after the low hanging fruit. Let's go for something that's a little higher, and it'll stick with you.
Yeah, because jokes mostly comes from unexpectation, and because this actually helped to bump it up to another level.
So I got one last real question for you, and I got some rapid fire questions. You get the rapid fire questions as well. Everyone gets rapid fire questions. So being in this career, what have you, which sounds like really fun. So I love hearing this. What advice would you give for someone who's interested in pursuing a job as a story artist and working in the sort of field that you're working in?
Yeah, well, this question is super big, and also I got asked this kind of questions a lot. But for people that already knows they wanted to do storyboarding for sure, I'd say just depends on what stage you're at. If you're in college, try using all the time and focusing on story portfolio. But if you're not in school, there's many industry people are teaching online classes, and we don't actually have to go to an expensive art college to learn all this. Yeah. So if you can get someone to help you learn all this stuff, that's the best way, because there are people that are really good at doing those things. Another thing is watch as many films or the stuff that you're interested in that inspire you as you can, and not just watch them like weekly analyzing. I'm trying to keep up doing this, like weekly analyzing the film you love would be great. And I guess build that drawing mileage is very important, because there's not, unless you're some really talented people. I met so many people like that at school, but for most people, I feel like we cannot cheat. We just need to draw as much as we could. Yeah, and at last, I have to see passion really matters. This is a very competitive industry. So if you are not really enjoying what you are trying to do, it's going to be tough to get good at it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, those are some great answers right there. I like the thoroughness there. You said it was vague, but I like the thoroughness there. Appreciate that. That's great.
Yeah. Hope that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense for me. You've inspired me. Now I want to go out there and start storyboard. So here, this is what want to happen in this scene. All
right. God, try it out.
So I want to run some rapid fire questions with you real quick. So I got 4 of them for you. First, I'm going to start off with the big one. What would be the dream project for you? If there was just an opportunity to do anything, let's say work on a certain property, work on a certain show, work on any project, what would it be?
Well, I feel like the dream project, I probably want to create my own show in the near future. But right now, it's not a great time. But my own show, I want to combine, because I still grew up with anime stuff. I want to combine the Asian slice of life things with the Western storytelling. and something like that. And I want kind of flat, like anime-ish, but it's not the complicated anime style. It's the Crayon Shin-chan, those kind of thing. I don't know, have you seen those? It's very simple, very experimental, cool art style. Yeah.
I've seen a few episodes.
Sounds kind of big.
No, I've seen a few episodes. Yeah.
That's the thing I want to make.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I want to see it. I want to see it happen. Sign me up.
Yeah.
So I think when we're creative and, sometimes it's just, as you touched on, things can be super competitive. You got a lot of stuff to do sometimes, a lot of work to do. What do you do to relax?
Oh, I actually love cooking and running. So these two things are just, it's helpful for me because for running, I get to, keep my body strong. But cooking, I don't know. I'm also into baking. I cook all kinds of dishes. I could cook Indian, Chinese, Korean. Yeah. I just look up recipe and try to copy that. It's one of the things I was like, I went to a restaurant and then they're like, that tastes interesting. Maybe I can make something similar. Yeah. I even made Peking roast duck at one point.
What the hell? That sounds amazing.
It sounds crazy. It's actually quite complicated, but because you see the duck, you need to hang it somewhere, right? I just need a wine bottle, and then I just put the duck on the bottle, and then dry it overnight, stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever had it. I've seen like that duck a lot. I've never had it. Now I want some. This is your fault. I'm blaming you for all of this.
I should have brought it up. It's a fanfic. It's not even real.
There's a little shade coming from me right now. Let's see. What is something that makes you laugh regardless? What is something that always makes you laugh? Some people say cat videos. Some people say watching people fall over, which is very sad. What is something that always makes you laugh?
IT crowd. All episode IT crowd. I don't know. I probably seen 20 times at this moment now. Like, it's just, I don't know, those jokes, even though I know what's gonna happen, I will still laugh at it every moment on that show. I don't know how they did it. So good.
It's great. This is the last one I got for you. How many hours of sleep do you usually get?
It depends. If it's a busy summer, I would still try to sleep a lot. It's, I guess, maybe 6 minimum. I usually get 8 hours, so it's not too bad. If I got busy, I would just do quick cooking. Yeah.
Because you don't want to get this. You don't want to get old man eyes and can't. You see, I got nothing because I'm tired. So I'm always tired.
Well, sleeping. I feel like sleeping is not. Right now, it's not the biggest issue. I just wish I had more time to have fun. Like I'm also super into Elden Ring. Like those games consume us like hundreds of hours. I'm 120 hours in the game. I still haven't beat it because I want to ground all the area as much as I could. Yeah.
That's great. So that's pretty much all I got. And what I like to do in the wrap up portion here, as we wrap up, I like to invite you to share with the listeners where they can check you out, more of your work, follow you on the social media website. The floor is yours.
Sure. I have Instagram as Siti Lu Art, just SITILUART, and same name on Tumblr. And you can also check my Weebly portfolio website if you are interested. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, there you have it, folks. I'm going to again thank Siti Lu for coming on to the podcast. And I'm Rob Lee, saying that there's art, culture, stories in and around your neck of the woods. You just have to look for them.